Hello, everybody. I'm Denise Coe.
And I'm Vic Carter. It took just about 2 hours for a verdict to be reached to determine that Jarrod Ramos is criminally responsible for the Capital Gazette attack.
And WJZ live outside the courthouse in Annapolis right now. Avajoy Burnett with the details and some reaction. Avajoy.
Good afternoon to you both. Many people who were waiting for this verdict were really surprised that it came down so quickly. Less than 2 hours. All 12 jurors, 8 men and 4 women, found that the defendant is criminally responsible for this mass shooting that happened at the Capital Gazette on June 28th, 2018. 5 people were murdered that day, and we could tell you that in the courthouse today were family members of the victims, were people who worked with the victims. Some of them were actually in the newsroom at the time of that shooting. And I was told that it felt like a family reunion for many of these people who went through that really traumatic experience 3 years ago, and now they were coming together to see this last phase of the second phase of the trial. Now, we want to do a quick recap for you. Keep in mind that the defendant has already pleaded guilty to 23 counts of this mass shooting, but this phase of the trial was to figure out if he's criminally responsible, and that's Maryland's version of an insanity case, and the outcome would have determined if he would spend the rest of his life in a state hospital, a psychiatric hospital, or a maximum security prison. And after today's outcome, it's very likely that he will do this. And the reason why I'm saying it's very likely is he still has about 10 days to file for a new trial. Now, we just heard from the prosecutor in this case. There were 2 people on the state side who argued this case, and she said she's really confident that they did everything the right way and a new trial will not go through. Here's a little bit about what she had to say just a few moments ago.
I think this quick verdict showed that the thoroughness of the state's preparation in rebutting the defense's case. The professionals that testified in this case for the state, our case was only about 3 days. The defense's case was 7 days long. And our job was simply to rebut what the defense put on, and we did a great job of that.
Now, this case was really traumatic for many of the survivors, many of the people who were actually in the courtroom on the day of that shooting, or even the family members who were also in the courtroom. And they really talked about many of the things that they felt when they started to see those images of some of the people in the newsroom, I should say, trying to escape the shooter. The shooter didn't speak at all. He didn't move throughout this more than 2-week process. He didn't say much. I remember one of the times in pretrial motions when they asked him, "How do you pronounce your name?" There was no response. And earlier today, at the end of all of this, when the verdict came down and the judge said, "Do you understand that you have 10 days to try to get a new trial here?" there was also no response. Now, in an attempt to be fair and balanced here, we did try to speak with the defense attorneys. There were 3 of them. As they walked out of the courthouse today, I tried to speak with them. They said no comment at this time. If there is no new trial, the sentencing could be coming in about 8 weeks. We're here at the courthouse. Family members are speaking right now. Survivors are also speaking right now. WJZ will be here and have more for you coming up on WJZ at 5. Back to you guys.